Welcome to 99th Monkey Liberty News for Monday, May 19th, 2014. This is my first day of doing a somewhat abbreviated version of the video, and I'll hopefully be paring it down even more in the next days. From Infowars.com, Russia's Holy Grail gas deal with China now only one digit away. This is to show that America is no longer going to be the center stage at some point. Who knows when that will be? There are a lot of rumors about a global financial reset that is supposedly intended to happen soon, but keeps being delayed by people in America. Not sure exactly who those people are who are delaying this, but certainly those who are in control who stand to lose control. And that, of course, people in control don't want to lose control. Fritz Springmeier wrote yesterday, The Unseen Hand in U.S. History, and mentioned Russia along with many other things. And he began by mentioning this about the U.S. presidents. And of course, Fritz is openly communicating information that he receives from the Illuminati. And Fritz is open and honest about it. And there's kind of a buyer beware. You know, we know where Fritz's information is coming from. And if we accept it, swallow it, hook, line, and sinker, we have been forewarned. Fritz told us where it's coming from, and I don't believe that Fritz would intentionally deceive anyone, but I can't speak for those he is representing. Their whole MO has been deception for many generations, and even assuming that they do want to change, that they do want to have a new MO, they're so accustomed to functioning in this way, it's going to take some time, I think. Repentance can happen quickly, and of course when Saul was knocked off his donkey and was blinded, he had a pretty quick repentance and became Paul the Apostle. So this kind of thing can happen quickly, and but I think it's incumbent upon all of us all the time to filter everything and filtering. And thank you, Fritz, for being honest about where your information is coming from. Some of the same information seems to be popping up in other places. And this is from Stage 2 Omega, the 13 missing years of American history you were never told. This is some of the same information that was on Fritz's blog. Now, could this be a coincidence? Well, sure, it could be a coincidence. But it might not be a coincidence. But, you know, whether this was introduced intentionally by some faction of the Illuminati or not, some of it is true history, and some of it is good information. If things are presented objectively, great. We can learn and develop. I think that the important thing is to be cautious about any spin that might be put on information. Just be aware whether something is written objectively or whether it is some form of opinion, or some opinion or point of view is injected that's intended to coerce your thinking and manipulate you. And of course, the mainstream media has been doing this for a long time. And I think that it's also raising its head in the alternative media. And I've mentioned this many times. I'm very, very cautious, but I'm sure I'm taken in at times. So we all need to just think for ourselves and be careful about this. And I do just want to remind, I've mentioned this a lot of times, the video that Dutch Sense made a few months ago, that he had been approached and offered money, and this is happening. And the Illuminati has been able to successfully craft public opinion in this way, in this manner, by controlling media for a long time, many decades, maybe longer than that. But as far as we know, when the decision was made, how many newspapers do we have to buy to control public opinion? And they bought a few more than that. So this is a well-developed process of controlling media and disseminating the information that is desired. We still have the internet for the time being, and we can still access, hopefully, a broad enough scope of information to piece together something close to the truth. And if anybody ever has suggestions for me of websites, blogs, whatever, that are good sources, I'm certainly open to suggestions, and I try to look at as many as I possibly can. But I always come back to InfoWars, I have to admit. Of all the things people that have been compromised or may have been compromised, and I'm not suggesting that Fritz has been compromised. As I said, he's honest about what he's doing. But as different sources, I'm not too sure. There are people that I've stopped listening to, and I've mentioned many of them, stopped reading. And I know a lot of people hate him, but Alex Jones, to me, is really true blue, really trying hard to present the information that is true and that is relevant to our situation in America and the world. So this article is from InfoWars. It's video, actually. Cheney declares Hillary Clinton responsible for Benghazi attack. This is interesting because at one time the Bush faction and the Clinton faction had kind of shaken hands and decided to be friends, and maybe for a long period of time. I don't really know for certain. But here, with Cheney criticizing Hillary, this seems a departure. And of course, this faction has stated, the Bush faction has stated, that they want to, well, not openly, of course, but because Jeb Bush has been making noise that he's going to run for president, this is lurking in the background, that they are trying to gain the upper hand, and that means that they need to put down Hillary. So be it. It would be ironic if, this Nazi faction broke down Hillary and left a void for Rand Paul and or other good candidates. We'll watch that and see what happens. But I think to me this is evidence that, and Don really has a much better handle on this than I do, but the difference between the National Socialists and the Fabian Socialists. And there is a division in the Illuminati between the National Socialists, or Nazis, which is this faction, the Bush faction, and the European Fabian Socialists, which is, the Rothschilds and the group that Fritz is communicating with. And supposedly this war between them has amped up. And I think that, it's possible that one bit of evidence that it has amped up is, and one possible bit of evidence that perhaps the Fabian Socialist branch of the Illuminati really does want to bring about change, possibly. As they've stated that they're going after Satanists and pedophiles. And because, child sacrifice goes mainstream, and there is a lot of information that's coming out having to do with pedophiles. Jimmy Savile in the UK, and here we have this Hollywood pedophile party, symptom of a rampant disease feeding on innocent children. These things are coming out into the open. I can't deny the possibility that maybe they are intentionally exposing, purging themselves of pedophiles and Satan worshipers. They still want to elect Hillary as president, though. And, I can't get past that. I think there are three things that as Fritz has communicated the agenda of the Illuminati, and some of the things that they're not willing to change, or maybe they are willing to change but don't realize how significant they are to us. Insisting that Hillary be elected our next president in the U.S. is just abhorrent to many, many Americans, and especially those of us who are trying to wake up. And the other two issues are just individual liberty, which is obvious. If somebody believes they run the world, it's obvious that they don't believe strongly in individual liberty, because there was no election. Nobody consented. This is just a position that they've assumed. And then the third issue, of course, is the eugenics, the insistence that a substantial part of the population should be culled from the herd. And that's even, that is a very dark agenda, whether that's openly satanic or not. It is a satanic agenda, because the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. Cynthia McKinney posted this on Facebook, and I haven't yet had an opportunity to watch it, but she doesn't really post that much, and she's one of the people that I just believe is true blue, and I very much enjoy things that she puts out there, so I'm guessing this is excellent. And I have an article from John Rappaport. This is my last article of the day, and it's not precisely good news, but it is entertaining to read. This is a fictional account, but as Stephen King wrote in the dedication of a book to his children, fiction is the truth inside a lie. So this is a good story. But one of the descendants of Bill Gates and his buddy Ernest Chappie have managed to whittle the world population down to 100,000 people. 99,000. This is amusing. I'm not the idea. I mean, if it happened, it would be horrible. But John Rappaport, true to form, has written this really well, and it's amusing. 99,000 people were now enslaved to the other 1,000 through constant hollow transmissions depicting a paradise of pastoral beauty, backgrounding dramas of intrigue, conspiracy, desperation, and triumph. These dramas were experienced during every waking hour. And the punishment for these boys, spoiler here, is to be placed in a complete void and have to construct reality from scratch. So again, it is amusing, and if you have a few minutes, I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Thank you for tuning in for today's 99th Monkey Liberty News. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hoping that you will love one another, take care, and insist on liberty.